moving forward. And we wanted to issue our first position paper today, and that's on strategic planning for Southbury. The paper can be found under the Issues tab on our website, so you can find the full text there. And we plan to have our campaign announcing a new position or a new issue statement almost every week as the campaign progresses over the next 14 weeks. Now, it's very apt that our first position paper be on strategic planning. It sets a tone and a framework for many of the position papers that will follow. We believe that much of what needs to be improved in Southbury results from its lack of planning and thinking comprehensively about how things are done. The result has been administrations, one after another, that has been reactive, always putting out fires it does not seem ready to address. Somebody drop something there? Now, the required Charter Revision Commission realized this, and the voters approved the change in the charter to assign the responsibility of developing and annually updating a strategic plan to the first selectman. Ironically, until our campaign raised this issue at the Democratic caucus 2 weeks ago, most people in town had forgotten this change to the charter. People will come up to me and say, well, where does it say that in the charter? Well, for the record, it's in section 402 under duties of the first selectman. Developing and implementing this process will not be easy. It will require a change in culture of town hall. That is just one of the many reasons why a new first selectman is needed. One who is committed to planning, has the experience to know how to do it, and has the track record that shows he can make it happen. I believe that I am that person. But just as importantly, it is why we need to have a majority of Democrats as selectmen to move this process forward. That is why I'm particularly pleased to be running with such an excellent team of selectmen who are as committed as I am to running a town effectively. The first step is to know where you want to go, and then to identify your priorities. We are the team that is ready to do this. So let me first introduce one of our current selectmen who will be running again, and that's Ed Gittens. Ed is a manager with an international firm and knows the importance of having a plan. Tonight, Ed will speak briefly about his experience as a member of the Board of Selectmen. Ed?
Thanks, Ed. So this past term, I'm serving on the Board of Selectmen, and we tend to spend a lot of our time reacting to issues as they come before us, instead of having some sort of comprehensive plan to deal with the important issues affecting town. You may have heard in the news over the last few weeks, as a result of the budget issues facing the state of Connecticut, one of the areas being affected is the Southbury Training School. We've now been caught by surprise as to what's going to happen with fire and ambulance service, and what the ultimate disposition of the land for the Southbury Training School is going to be. We have no plan to deal with that. It's something that we should be addressing in a strategic long-term plan. Over these past few years, we had the unfortunate incident of some death of young people in town, and we needed to address positive youth engagement in town, another area that we should have been looking long-term to address. We need to, as a board, use our time effectively and work from a plan that's going to benefit the town to advance Southbury forward. Thank you.
Next is our candidate for selectman is Donna Pereira, who is just completing her 6th year on the Board of Finance. Donna is Chief Operating Officer of a national organization or national corporation, and has served on several boards of directors of nonprofit organizations, including the American Red Cross. Donna?
Thanks, Ed. I've worked for 30 years with small corporations, and in most cases, my experience has been that those with a strategic plan are the successful ones. The companies that flounder are the ones who have no idea where they're going and have not looked at where they've been. In addition, I think that a strategic plan, just the process of looking at a plan, is important. It's as important to me as the plan itself, because it forces us to look at where we are, where we're going. So I'm really a big fan of strategic planning, and I'm disappointed that the First Selectman has not addressed this issue, especially since this was such a priority for the Charter Commission.
Okay. And finally, our next candidate is Ron Pugliese, an experienced executive who is currently working as president of the East Hartford Chamber of Commerce. Ron has vast experience in corporate and governmental communications and outreach, is well aware of the need for effective outreach to the public.
Thank you, Ed. Good evening, everybody. First, let me say that I am honored and delighted to be a member of this team. Southbury is a great town. We've all said it, I've said it, but just saying it doesn't make it so. Just saying it doesn't secure Southbury for the future. We have to plan for the future. We have to decide which direction we want to go, and I think a strategic plan is the way to go. The fact that the voters several years ago have asked for a strategic plan and there's been none so far, I think is a glaring weakness on the behalf of this present administration. This gentleman to my right will make it one of his top priorities. The fact that it's the #1 position paper that we've issued, I think tells a lot. So I say I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to be on this team. I'm delighted to live in this great town and committed to the future. And the best way to commit to this future is a strategic plan. So, Ed, we're with you 100%.
Okay. Well, again, I think you've heard some excellent arguments of why a strategic plan is necessary. Many of these, unfortunately, were already raised and debated and discussed by the Charter Revision Commission, but it appears over the last 3 or 4 years that plea has been dismissed or not paid any attention to. I truly believe every organization needs a plan. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And I'm afraid that Southbury has that tendency to just go and react to whatever the issue of the day is. So I look forward to working with this team to make a difference in Southbury, and I think working together we'll be able to do that. And with that, if there are any questions from the media, including Maeve, we'll be glad to take those.
Well, how do you go about developing a strategic plan? I mean, you're all busy, you have careers.
Well, as you see in the statement that's on the website, I mean, the first thing is to recognize we have a very good staff here in Town Hall.
Yes, I
and we need
agree.
to pull those people together and utilize their skills. As I say, the first step is to try to prioritize what is it that are the issues before the town and prioritize which are the ones that are most important. So many of us have had experience in developing strategic plans and a process. I believe it's something that, starting with staff, you can do. As we also say on the website, we want to have public hearings to get input. I think a lot of us have been very impressed with what's been going on with the Plan of Conservation and Development. But let's keep in mind that has a very specific focus on what it looks at. What it doesn't look at are things like taxes, budgets, and deficits and surpluses. And our annual budgeting process only looks 1 year at a time. We need a process that looks multi-years, or looks into the future, many, many years into the future. Looks beyond just issues of conservation, but looks, as Ed had mentioned, youth and youth activities, the type of venues that we need, the type of programs. So we want to open this process up to more than just staff, because it's more than just about Town Hall. It's about the town. And that means including and being inclusive and bringing in other organizations, whether it might be representatives of religious organizations, the nonprofit organizations in town, plus a lot of the skilled volunteers that we have available to us in Southbury.
Or would you anticipate hiring somebody to oversee this, somebody from outside?
At this point, I don't think we would need to.
I'm thinking you're spending money already.
I mean, we know that Southbury is really blessed with a lot of experienced people who've had experience with working for corporations. So it's my view that we would find that we have the capability, or we have the skills in town to find people who could help coordinate some of that. But again, and we'll have a position paper on this later in the year, later in the campaign, I should say, that I'm very concerned that we've misused volunteers in this town. Volunteers should be there for generating ideas. They should be there as sounding boards for ideas, but staff has got to do the work, and that's what they're paid for. And too often, I think our first selectmen in this town have let the staff off the hook and said, well, I'll go and I'll form a committee of volunteers to look into that. And it's not that I have any problem with doing that, but they ask those volunteers to do the homework that the staff should be involved in doing in the first place. So I don't want to just go and say, well, we'll offload this to somebody else. This has got to be a team process that includes all of the town employees, and I think they will find it not only a stimulating process, but one that brings morale and focus to what they're doing.
I think they would appreciate that.
I'm sorry?
I think staff would appreciate that.
Okay. That's why I agree. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for coming, and I guess this will end the formal part of the press conference, and everybody have a good week, and we will persevere to present more coherent issues and statements in the future weeks. Thank you.